Okay. Yes, so Forward Assist is based in the northeast of England, and we work with both male and female veterans. And we really look at identity, transition, adjustment, and assimilation. And Salute Her is a charity in our own right now, and that is a gender specific service. It's an all women staff team, all women trustees, and it's just serving personnel and women veterans and their children who access the service. And it's the first service in the United Kingdom as well, so we're really proud of it. Within Salute Her, we also have a dedicated LGBTQ plus veterans care and support worker, and she has a project within Salute Her where she provides specialist information, advice and guidance. Next slide, please, Anna. So my name is Paula Edwards. I specialise in suicide, self-harm, sexual assault, and anything to do with childhood trauma. So when I first started working for Forward Assist in 2017, we only had 249 women veterans who were registered with us. And today we have 2,015, which is absolutely amazing and remarkable. All of the women who access us come to us because they feel safe and trust us. We're outside of the military, and because we are the only gender specific service in the country. As part of the service, I run a military sexual trauma support group, lots of online groups, residential services, training, legal advice, therapeutic art and fitness classes, and parliamentary debate training as well. Next slide, please. One of the things that we're really proud of is our research. So over the past 3 years, we have interviewed over 150 marginalised veterans and produced 3 really distinctive reports. No Man's Land, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight in more depth. The Invisible Man, which is exploring the lived experience of male veterans who are victims of sexual assault and exit wounds, really focusing on the purge. So, as I had discussed before, there is very little research in the United Kingdom looking at women veterans. And for all intents and purposes, women veterans are a hidden population in the UK. And a lot of the research that is out there is superficial and tokenistic and often added onto the end of males' research. So using an ethnographic model really allowed us to give a voice to a seldom heard group and give us a deeper understanding of the real issues that are faced by women in the military. Next slide, please, Anna. So the demographics of No Man's Land was, we interviewed 100 women veterans, and the youngest woman was 28 and the oldest was 72. And the majority of women had all served at least 5 years. Next slide, please. The majority of women that we interviewed served in the army, and there was fewer numbers between the RAF and the Navy. So what were the findings? We looked at before service, during service, and after service for women. That was really important. We wanted to get a full picture of a woman's life experience. And sadly, for a lot of the women who joined the military, they had adverse childhood experiences. And those included sexual abuse, neglect, physical abuse, and psychological abuse. And those adverse childhood experiences really impact on their outcomes in adulthood and increase their vulnerability. Over half of the women experienced bullying at school, and as a result, they left school without any qualifications, and that put them at an even greater disadvantage when they joined the military. Many of the women had a really difficult time in the military. 52% of the women reported that they had been sexually assaulted while serving in the military. And sexually assaulted is a really broad term. What I'm talking about is rape. So a lot of the women were brutally raped. 49% felt like they had suffered emotional trauma, and 66% of the women interviewed had experienced bullying and sexual harassment during the military service. And what's worse about all of the trauma that the women sustained is that out of the 100, only 25 women reported the assault at the time. Many felt like the system was unfair, unjust, that there wasn't safeguarding procedures to protect them, that there was no levels of confidentiality, and that they'd be discriminated against for reporting an attack or bullying. 85% of those interviewed described being treated differently to their male counterparts. So a lot of them felt that they had to work twice as hard as the men that they worked alongside. A lot of the women ended their careers to protect themselves, to keep themselves safe. Women veterans struggle to find employment due to mental health difficulties, psychological trauma, and low levels of self-esteem and confidence, which resulted in many of the women feeling lonely and isolated and just retracting from society and living on their own, feeling invisible and like they don't matter. 82% felt isolated and unable to join any military groups, charities, or associations, mainly because they were frightened that they might bump into the perpetrator. And a lot of associations reminded the women of the military as well, so they were being constantly re-traumatized. And No Man's Land really points out how deep and inescapable the women's emotional, psychological wounds were, and their inability to move past the amount of guilt, shame, and distrust they have in themselves and society as a whole. It was clear that trauma sustained during military service wreaked havoc on the women's mental health and on the psychology. And one of the things that a lot of MPs have done is to really try and highlight the issues that women who are still serving face and women veterans. So on the back of No Man's Land, Sarah Atherton initiated a first of its kind Defence Select Committee, and there was over 4,200 responses, which is the largest inquiry that's ever taken place looking at military life. And over 62% reported harassment, bullying, or serious sexual assault or rape while serving. And in July 2021, there was a report that came out, and that report made several recommendations, and some of those recommendations have been upheld. Not all of them, but some of them, which is a huge step in the right direction. Next slide, please, Anna. So all of our services have been carefully created to look at mind, body, and soul, and to be trauma informed. And I'm not going to read through all of the groups and all of the activities we have, but all of the services are based on post-traumatic growth. So for instance, we'll have virtual gym sessions, which I never thought would work, but they absolutely have. We have developed leaflets, again, a first in the country, on military sexual trauma and how to be intimate after a rape as well. And we also have mindfulness of dream and sleep workshops. And we have done a lot of work with GPs, practices, and dentists around being trauma informed. So we have just completed a campaign where women can now go and get cervical screening in sexual health clinics, which is more comfortable, and a woman can maintain dignity in those services. and we have had 50 women go for cervical screening tests, which is absolutely amazing and has really saved some of the women's lives. And at the minute, we're looking at conducting some further research into women in the criminal justice system who've served in the military. We have a few women who work with us who have been arrested and been sent to prison because of children not being able to attend school because of bullying, or the school being unable to safeguard that child. So it's really complex, and there's multiple layers of trauma for a lot of the women who access our service. We also, because I specialise in suicide and self-harm, do a lot of work with women on emotional stabilisation and how to keep themselves safe. So we'll have a full library of leaflets, including suicide and self-harm leaflets. Next slide, Anna. So some of the recommendations from our work, what we would like to see happen is we would like to see a women's specific department in the Office of Veterans Affairs. We really believe that minority groups experience unique challenges, and this must be recognised for services to be developed. If it's not, then the services are not fit for purpose and they're not needs-led. Military sexual trauma should be acknowledged and screened for prior to discharge, so that specialist services can make sure that that woman or man gets a service and they don't fall through the net, as is what happens now. We really believe that there needs to be an independent and robust reporting system for women. At the minute, they have to go through their chain of command to report a sexual assault. For a lot of those women, having to go to a male and talk about what happened to them is humiliating, and they don't trust that person. So it's really difficult, and there's lots of issues with military police as well. So we think, and what women would really like is to see civilian police take over investigations. And there really should be some collaboration between the military police and civilian police, so that the women get the justice and men get the justice that they deserve. Thank you, Anna. And this is a range of some of our leaflets. And if anybody would like any of the leaflets or to know more about the services that we provide, my email address is just after questions, and I'm more than happy for anyone to contact me and get more information.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paula. And as I said, all the income from the tickets we sold for this event, it will be donated to Salute Her. So thank you again.
That's absolutely amazing, because with that money, we're going to put it towards one of the activities that the women access. So it just means that more women can access the service, which is amazing.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.